the emotion management in TCM. The emotion is the basic concept. And the emotion related all the clinic issues, related all the mentalities. So today we have one word very popular, we call it consciousness. In the modern psychology, the consciousness already being a classic concept. If we know our consciousness, we can open the door to the very deep, the mental world, also associate our universe. That's for sure. But now we're still outside the door, this kind of consciousness. So for the human being, when we look at our self as a life, mostly we see our physical flesh. But absolutely, you know yourself. Even I'm got an injury, I'm old, I have some kind of physical deteriorating, but my shen, spirit, my mentality is a different thing. That makes a huge difference. We're still under debate as a human being in the life, where the mental consciousness, psychological entity, or we are the physical entity. It's very, very difficult to understand. Only look at the mental, the functions as a life phenomenon. So look at the mentality. Also, we use consciousness. We have consciousness. So we put together mentality and the consciousness as similar words. Even we have all the different definition, different thoughts, that's fine. But we change the angle to look at ourselves. Many people will say, oh, the human being is intelligence, smart, make a lot of tools, make a lot of technologies. So we say, oh, we are the wisdom life, wisdom, the people, the life. But meanwhile, we will look at the people, the emotion. You have such a heart with a lot of emotion waves. That's the energy-based, right? So we say, wow, human being is an emotion-based life. Because emotion, they made our life so colorful. So I talked several times regarding the emotion management. If you put together in the past 20 years, I don't know how many times I talked. That's a lot. Emotion is the color of our life. It's the color of our shen, our mentality. If you don't have emotion, there's no color. Today, even I'm focusing on some topic like PTSD, but I don't want to use the traumatized dark color for these slides. I use the colorful, this kind of the initial slides to let you know, as a human being, we have all type of colors. That doesn't matter the color. Sometimes you feel happy, you feel joyful, you feel complacency, you feel joyful, you feel sad, you feel fear, you feel timid, or even you try to walk away, escape. You feel a lot of frightening. So it doesn't matter. We call it startle. Doesn't matter. But that's the color. If no such color, that's the machine. That's a robot. Also, we have our own dynamic. Because we have emotion, the emotion can communicate, affect our thoughts, intelligence. So make these dynamics very, very dynamics. We make very, very much the changes day by day, moment by moment. There's no machine can mimic you. Machine is logic-based. Robot, everything is logic-based, programming-based. We have programming, but not by our self-programmer. We are encoded by the nature. The nature knows the trending, knows how to deal with the human life, not human life, ourselves. So the angle changed. You look at the human has so much color. That's the emotions. But meanwhile, we have another desire. The desires make us feel we need to do something. We have to take actions because we are hungry. We're thirsty. We need to purpose the new life. We need the safety. We need the relationships. We need the social economy activities. We set up our goals. We want to do more achievement. That's the desire layers, one on the top, one after another. We'll continue doing this. So the desire on the bottom, the basic instinct desires, very interesting. That's our internal energy cycle associated with the nature cycle. More towards our conscious level, the thoughts, intelligence, wisdom, knowledge is make the desire more complicated and add layers on the top. So you have so much complicated desires and actions you want to do. Because life has a very basic two principles here in any type of psychology. For life, number one, survive. Number two, survive better. That's it. Okay, so today we're talking emotion management in TCM, but we're focusing on the PTSD. So regarding the PTSD, so we have some professional talking. That's not my talking. I just follow the professional website, their definition, to give some ideas, and we continue. So PTSD is the severe anxiety disorder that can develop after exposure to any events that results in a psychological trauma. So PTSD is what? Psychological trauma based. Okay, we put here now. In history, especially in the United States, we had these kind of old words the professionals mentioned. We call the soldier's heart. After the Civil War, the soldier had so much wounds, injury, but also during the old days, we have so much infections, pain, bleeding. We don't have enough medicine. So people suffer big loss, big painful period of time. That's the soldier experienced. Also, we called in the World War II, World War I, we call it combat fatigue. The people fighting. The soldiers, the people feel fatigued, tired. They don't know where is the end. As the human life, when you talk in the individual life, to this person, that's 100%. But to the country, to the war, plans, to someone, maybe that is the one of the every year, who knows? And then later we have another, we call that battle fatigue, but growth stress reaction for the soldiers, the growth stress reaction. That's basically they talk more and they try to manage the soldiers, these kind of reactions. This situation getting worse and worse, especially we have medical doctors, psychiatrists involved, try to take care of more people. They use the words talking about the PTSD, but that's the after World War II. That's after that big the battle. So gradually, not exactly the same words mentioned before, but anyway, PTSD, these words, it getting more popular, especially after the post-Vietnam syndrome. You see the word, very interesting, right? Called the post-Vietnam syndrome. So in the 1980s, finally, the PTSD, they put it in the DSM-3 the diagnosis system. That's in my PhD program. But later I learned the learned the DSM-3R revised type. So that's the history. So from here, you have to know, human being in our history, we suffered a lot of the mental trauma, psychological trauma. You talk this way, it's okay. So the trauma is huge and big. So now this number for the epidemic, I use the old number basically. So 7 to 8% of people in the United States will likely develop PTSD in their lifetime. So almost 1 in 10, you have someone has some kind of trauma right here. But you have to know they have likely developed PTSD. That's huge. Now, with a lifetime, the occurrence in combat veterans and the rape victims ranging from the 10 as high as 30%. So if this person experienced war, experienced the rape-based, that's the most harmful events on the earth. One is war, killing based. One is rape. So that's the basically we call that death for finished lives, lost lives, plus the rape. That's the two major victims on the earth. So that kind of thing can make the trauma, PTSD, runs to 10 to 30%. You see, that's huge. And also we have another issue related. For example, the social events, economic situations. Maybe you heard before, we had several times the economy troubles, even in the United States. If you're talking in China, since later in the last century and the 19th centuries, there are one disaster after another, war after war. That's really the people, general people, so suffered right there.